Now, moving on to the background of Nepal. What happened in Nepal exactly? To understand the Nepal's constitutional background, we have to understand what is happening in Nepal clearly. So, in Nepal in 1959, we got a revolt. The people started to revolt against the king. The king name is King Mahendra. King Mahendra agreed to give the parliamentary setup and restrict himself to a constitutional monarch. So, when he agreed in this point of time, the elections were conducted and the process was going on, but the constitution was not framed yet, and it is just for a namesake government is being run. Finally, up to 1991, the say was as usual going on, and the king was using his entire powers. Only for namesake we have the constitutional setup. So finally in 1991, we got elections for the parliament, and the Congress, the Nepal Congress Party. The Nepal Congress Party has won the elections with a huge majority and took over the government's responsibilities. Now, after taking over the responsibilities, the Communist Party people are not satisfied with the Congress government. What made them to not get satisfied is that even today, even the Congress Party is having majority in the parliament, but the word of the king is final. They are not utilizing their powers very clearly. This way, it went on up to 2007. Finally, in 2007, the Communist Party people agitated and gathered in groups in the mass gathered and revolted against the Congress government, and then in the next elections the Communist Party of Communist Party of Nepal won the elections and formed the government. Mr. Koirala became the Prime Minister of the Nepal nation. Now, what is the question that is binding them to make a constitution? They can make a constitution from 1959 to 1991 or from 1991 to 2007. So, in this long span of period, when they were running along with the nation or a systematic form of governments, what are the features that are binding them not to make a government is that when they were framing the form of governments or the constitutional setups, when they are framing a draft of a constitution, they are framing according to the interests of the nations or interests of the leaders. The point is to be remembered is that the interest of the people is the main criteria, and the future generations of the people also should feel comfortable with the draft of the constitution what we are making on. So the leaders has to keep in their mind that they have the responsibility of the future generations and to take forward the nation in the further steps. So the people did not concentrate much on this. So the constitutions were failing in the Nepal. Finally, now in 2007, after the Communist Party came into power, they started to frame a constitution. Now, what is a constitution? The constitutional experts clearly states that the constitution provides us two basic ideas. The first basic idea is that it provides clearly all the duties and responsibilities of the top executives of the nation, as well as the members of the parliament, as well as the citizens, the fundamental rights, the cabinets, duties and responsibilities, everything in detail with the single note of duties and responsibilities. At the same time, how to build on a nation with the perfect guidelines are also be entrusted in a constitution. Now, moving on to the Nepal's issue, what is binding it from making a constitution from 2007 till date is that the Nepal leaders are still in a confucius state whether they are going to frame it on the interest of the people or at the cost of their own political careers. So, here we have to remember the point that the leaders don't have the clarity or could not get up the perfect picture on what would be the future of the Nepal. This is the main reason why the Nepal is not able to form a constitution of itself. So, when could Nepal get a clear idea of all these things? We have to wait and watch till they get their clear picture. Then only they can draft a perfect constitution for them. Now, moving back to India, what was the basic criteria for Indians to frame a constitution? Who led the Indian members or the leaders to frame a constitution? What are the basic criteria that were meted out by the Indian leaders to frame a constitution? Exactly how many days it took for the Indians to frame a constitution? How did the people express their dissatisfaction? Is the assembly having complete representation of all the people? These all points we'll discuss in this next part.